Today's tech news moves fast, but understanding it shouldn't be hard. That's why Snarful Solutions Group brings you Connecting the Dots, where we break down what's happening in tech and why it matters to you. Now, let's dive in with your hosts.
So what do a Nobel Prize-winning medical team, a massive Russian terror investigation, and an abandoned nuclear weapon site all have in common?
I mean, it sounds like the setup to a really intense thriller.
Right. But actually, right now, they are all being swallowed whole with a new AI arms race. Welcome to Connecting the Dots. I'm Alex.
And I'm Morgan.
It is Wednesday, July 29, 2026. And we are broadcasting live from the Snarful Solutions Group in Sacramento, California.
The best place to be.
Definitely. But before we get into today's analysis, let's get you caught up with your morning update.
Yeah, looking outside here in Sacramento, it's a scorcher today.
Oh, for sure.
We are looking at a sunny 96 degrees Fahrenheit with just a slight breeze, winds at 5 to 9 miles per hour.
Not too bad on the wind, at least.
Right. But if you are traveling across the country today, definitely keep an eye on the skies. There are currently 296 active U.S. weather alerts.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah, with 211 of those over land. So travel safe out there.
Good advice.
Yeah.
And over on Wall Street, things are looking a bit cloudier, honestly. It's been a rougher day for the markets.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Dow closed down 753.24 points.
Dow.
Yeah, that's a drop of 1.43%, landing at 51,920.97.
That is a hit.
Definitely. And the S&P 500 also took a slight hit, dropping 26.20 points to close at 7,391.96.
Any good news?
Well, if you're holding crypto, you get a tiny bit of good news. Bitcoin is up slightly by $42.37, closing at $63,895.86.
Hey, we'll take what we can get, right?
Exactly. What about sports?
Right. So wrapping up with sports, baseball had some mixed results for Northern California yesterday on July 28th.
Let's hear it.
The SF Giants dropped their game to the Milwaukee Brewers 2-8.
Tough loss.
Yeah, Logan Henderson took the win on the mound for the Brewers. But on a brighter note, the Athletics secured a really tight 4-3 victory against the Boston Red Sox.
Oh, nice. Good for them.
Yep, backed by a winning performance from pitcher Gage Jump.
All right, well, let's unpack this. Today, we are looking at the tech article report, what we call the Morning Star. And we are going to examine three massive stories that all connect to one central theme.
And that theme is basically how the digital world, like specifically AI and communication platforms, is completely rewiring our physical reality.
Exactly. I mean, we were talking about the literal building blocks of medicine, global espionage, and, the physical power grid that you rely on every day.
Today's episode is brought to you by Strong Coffee, the premium instant coffee that tastes like a traditional brew, but is packed with 15 grams of protein, MCTs, and adaptogens like ashwagandha. Get clean, sustained energy without the jitters. Use promo code SNARFL for 20% off at strongcoffeecompany.com.
Okay, so let's look closer at our first story. And frankly, this one is sending absolute shockwaves through the scientific community.
Well, it really is.
According to the report, Google DeepMind is dismantling the team behind AlphaFold. And I have to admit, I'm getting stuck on this right out of the gate. AlphaFold just won the Nobel Prize, right? Like, recently.
They did. Literally, John Jumper and Google DeepMind's CEO, Demis Hassabis, won the 2024 Nobel Prize in Chemistry for this exact project.
So why on earth would a company dissolve a team that just cured a 50-year-old biological mystery?
It's crazy.
For anyone listening who might not be deep into computational biology, AlphaFold is the AI that learned to predict three-dimensional protein structures.
Right, which is huge.
And now, nearly a quarter of the full-time authors of the original AlphaFold papers have left Google entirely.
Yeah, and not just lower-level staff.
Yeah.
Jumper himself, along with key researchers, Jonas Adler and Alexander Pritzel, they defected.
Defected where?
To rival Anthropic, actually, to work on their new Claude Science division.
Wow, Anthropic just scooped up Nobel-winning talent.
Exactly. And it is stunning when you look at the mechanics of what they achieved, because you have to understand why predicting protein structures is so important in the first place.
Right. Give us the breakdown.
Think of a protein as like a long string of amino acids. In order to actually do its job in your body, whether that's fighting off an infection or just digesting your food, that string has to fold up into a very specific, incredibly complex 3D origami shape.
Like a lock and key.
Exactly like a lock and key. And for 50 years, scientists struggled to figure out how a specific sequence would fold simply because the sheer number of possible shapes is, well, mathematically mind-boggling.
It's essentially the foundation for all modern drug discovery. I mean, if you know the exact shape of a disease's protein, you can design a drug to perfectly fit into it and neutralize it.
Exactly. And AlphaFold solved that mapping problem.
Which is why they won the Nobel.
Right. Google DeepMind put itself on the map with a very specific, dedicated strategy. They threw massive, specialized teams at a single grand scientific challenge until they cracked it.
Okay, so if it worked so well, what changed?
Well, according to their VP of Research, Pushmeet Kohli, that strategy is basically dead.
Wait, really?
Yeah. They are abandoning the single-focus scientific approach. Instead, they want to focus on building generalized Gemini-powered systems and what they call frontier AI agents.
So, chatbots.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah.
To compete with OpenAI and Anthropic. And, I really have to push back on this strategy shift.
Yeah.
Because I want to give you an analogy for how wild this actually is.
Let's hear it.
Imagine you own a championship sports team. Your roster just won the Super Bowl, right? They are playing flawlessly, operating at the absolute peak of human performance in football.
Okay.
You walk into the locker room, hold up the Lombardi trophy and say, "Great job, everyone. We are disbanding the team immediately. Starting tomorrow, we're going to try to win a championship in basketball."
That's exactly what this feels like. And just because they want to compete with OpenAI in the commercial space.
Precisely. Are we seriously saying that abandoning dedicated, pure scientific research, like the kind of specialized focus that literally cures diseases, is worth it just to win a commercial arms race for chatbot supremacy?
It's a valid question.
The brightest minds of our generation are being pulled away from pure discovery to build, consumer AI assistants.
I do want to challenge that assumption just a little bit, though.
Okay, lay it on me.
If we look at the financial realities of these tech giants, training these new frontier AI agents requires billions of dollars in specialized compute.
Right. The server costs are insane.
Exactly. And a frontier agent isn't like AlphaFold. AlphaFold does one thing, protein folding perfectly. But a frontier agent is supposed to be a generalized intelligence that can reason across multiple domains.
Yeah.
So Google might argue that if they built a super smart general agent, it will eventually automate the entire scientific process anyway, right? Like a rising tide lifts all boats.
I mean, sure, that is the corporate justification. They feel immense pressure to monetize these generalized models across their consumer platforms. They have to pay for the billions they just spent on servers. But look at the immediate consequence for you, listening on your commute or sitting at your desk right now. The talent pool that was previously dedicated to finding the next miracle drug or understanding the building blocks of life is now being drafted into the commercial AI wars.
It paints a very clear picture of priorities.
It really does.
Tech giants are siphoning off the world's top scientific talent to build general AI, because whoever builds the smartest agent ultimately controls the digital ecosystem.
And controlling that digital ecosystem isn't just happening in Silicon Valley boardrooms or academic labs,
Right.
The fight for digital control is resulting in literal physical warfare right now, thousands of miles away.
Which takes us right into our second story from the Morningstar report. But before we dive into the details, we really need to establish a very clear ground rule for this topic.
Yes, absolutely.
We are going to be discussing intense allegations involving the ongoing Russia-Ukraine conflict. So we are strictly looking at the facts reported in our sources. We are not taking sides in this conflict, nor are we endorsing any claims made by the intelligence agencies or the tech executives involved.
Right, we are just the messengers here.
Exactly. We are simply reporting the complex reality of this digital communications war.
So, with that context established, here is the situation. Russia's Federal Security Service, the FSB, has issued an international arrest warrant for 41-year-old Pavel Durov.
The founder and CEO of Telegram.
Yep. They're charging him with aiding terrorism, and if convicted, he faces up to life in prison.
Life in prison for an app CEO. To understand the gravity here, you have to understand that Telegram isn't just a text messaging app.
Not at all.
It is a mass broadcast platform, a news source, and many conflict zones, a literal military command center.
Yeah.
But the specifics of how the FSB claims Telegram was weaponized are wild. They're pointing to a popular dating bot on the platform called Leo.
Right. And before Russia banned the Leo bot in December of 2025, it had 13 million users.
13 million on a dating bot.
Yeah. And the FSB alleges that Ukrainian intelligence operatives use this bot to pose as women and build fake romantic relationships with young Russian men.
Which is dark enough, but it gets worse.
They specifically targeted teenagers and young adults between the ages of 12 and 22.
The mechanism they used here is chillingly simple. They didn't just ask for state secrets. According to the report, they sent these young men phishing links, ostensibly to pay for innocent things like movie tickets or dates.
And once the young men clicked the links and entered their financial details, the operatives had their data.
Wow.
The FSB claims the data was then used for outright blackmail. They allege these young men were coerced into carrying out acts of physical sabotage.
Like what kind of sabotage?
Like arson and armed attacks on Russian transport and energy infrastructure.
It is completely insane.
And there are physical consequences here. Like 46 Russian citizens have been arrested in connection with this over the past year.
So how does the CEO of the platform react to being slapped with terrorism charges over a dating bot?
Well, Durov went on X and posted a photo of himself giving the middle finger to the camera.
Very diplomatic.
Right. I mean, Telegram's long-standing corporate stance has been an absolute refusal to moderate content or hand over user data to governments.
But meanwhile, the Kremlin is aggressively pushing its citizens toward an alternative, a state-backed messenger called Axe.
Yeah, of course they are.
And Axe comes pre-installed on Russian phones and openly shares user data with the authorities.
It is a battle for total visibility. Governments realize these encrypted platforms are blind spots where kinetic physical attacks are being coordinated.
But I want to ask you about the geography of all this, because Durov's situation seems impossible at this point.
Oh, so?
Well, he currently lives in Dubai, right? He holds citizenship in France, Russia, the UAE, and St. Kitts and Nevis.
A true global citizen.
But he is already in legal jeopardy in the West. He was arrested in France in 2024 and is still under formal investigation there for failing to prevent drug trafficking on Telegram.
Right, the French charges.
So if he is wanted by France, and now he is wanted by Russia, and the UAE has close diplomatic ties to Moscow, where can a tech CEO actually run when superpowers demand control of his platform?
It is a rapidly shrinking map. I mean, think about the paradox here. You can build a borderless digital empire in the cloud, but your physical body still has to sleep in a bed on solid ground.
Exactly.
And the moment Pavel Durov's plane touched down in France back in 2024, physical jurisdiction took over. Tech CEOs are finding out that you cannot remain a neutral, borderless entity when the tools you create are being utilized as weapons.
Look at the phone in your pocket right now. That simple group chat app you use to text your family or send grocery lists to your spouse.
Yeah.
Intelligence agencies are currently using that exact same digital infrastructure as a command center for international espionage and physical sabotage.
The digital world is bleeding into the physical one with real-world casualties. But, the physical cost of running these digital empires goes way beyond geopolitics.
Oh, for sure.
It requires geography, and it requires a staggering amount of raw physical power.
Which brings us directly to our third story. Just as digital platforms can spark real-world fires, the massive AI arms race we discussed in the first story has an insatiable appetite for electricity.
Absolutely insatiable.
The cloud isn't actually in the sky. It lives in massive, sprawling warehouses filled with servers, and those servers are hungry.
And that appetite is exactly why Brookfield and NextEra Energy have just announced a partnership to build a $100 billion AI data center campus by 2032.
$100 billion.
Let that scale sink in for a second.
We are talking about a single facility.
A single facility.
Yeah.
And the location they chose is deeply symbolic.
Right.
They are building this on a 750-acre site in Paducah, Kentucky, which happens to be a former World War II munitions plant and a Department of Energy uranium enrichment site.
They are literally taking a site built to fuel the nuclear arms race and converting it to fuel the AI arms race.
It's wild.
And the campus is designed to support over 1.2 gigawatts of compute capacity. To give you some context, 1 gigawatt is roughly the power output of an entire large-scale nuclear reactor.
Right.
Like Back to the Future made a huge deal about 1.21 gigawatts to time travel. And this AI campus is basically going to draw that continuously.
And to power all of this locally, NextEra is building 4.6 gigawatts of dedicated on-site generation.
Which is massive.
Yeah, that includes 2 gigawatts of natural gas and 2.6 gigawatts of battery energy storage. Now, there's a very specific policy angle to how this is being structured.
Okay, let's hear it.
The developers emphasize that they are paying for their own energy and transmission infrastructure. So, impartially speaking, the mechanism here is designed to fulfill President Trump's ratepayer protection pledge.
Right.
This ensures that the massive power demands of this specific AI facility do not result in higher utility costs being passed on to the local communities surrounding the site.
And on paper, that sounds perfectly reasonable, right? We bring our own power so your home electricity bill doesn't go up.
Sounds great in a press release.
But I want to challenge this because Neil Osnado's analysis in the sources really caught my eye.
What did he say?
Well, I'm looking at these numbers, and Osnado says you can't just take 2 gigawatts of gas, add 2.6 gigawatts of batteries, and call it 4.6 gigawatts of firm, continuous power. I'm a bit confused on the physics here. Why doesn't that math check out?
It's a great question, and it basically comes down to the fundamental difference between generation and storage.
Okay.
Think of a natural gas plant like a garden hose. As long as you pay the gas bill and keep the fuel flowing, the water, or in this case, the electricity, keeps flowing indefinitely.
Makes sense.
A battery, on the other hand, is just a bucket. It doesn't make water, it just holds it. Once that 2.6 gigawatt bucket is empty, it is completely useless until you can find excess power to refill it.
Oh, I see. So what happens when this massive $100 billion AI brain is running at full capacity, churning through calculations for days on end, and those batteries run empty?
Well, physics dictates that it will pull from the path of least resistance.
Meaning the grid.
Exactly. When a facility of this magnitude drains its local storage buckets during a peak demand period, say a massive heat wave, it has to drink from the broader, interconnected regional grid to keep those servers from crashing.
Which impacts everybody else.
Right. Osnado's point is that bringing your own power is not the same thing as bringing your own grid. While the financial structure protects ratepayers from the initial billion-dollar construction costs, the physical reality of grid stress during peak hours remains a very, very complex engineering problem.
Despite the grid challenges, though, the economic gravity of this project is undeniable. We are talking about injecting 8,000 construction jobs and 600 permanent tech jobs into Kentucky.
Which is huge for the local economy.
Absolutely. But for you, the listener, the bigger takeaway is observing how AI is moving out of the realm of software updates.
Yep.
It requires so much physical power and land that tech companies are taking over abandoned nuclear sites and essentially acting as their own private utility companies just to keep the lights on.
Before we wrap up today's deep dive into the Morning Star Report, a quick thanks to Old Glory, an iconic music and sports fan merch store. Perfect for the techie in your life. Use promo code SNARFL for 15% off at oldglory.com.
Let's pull all these threads together. Today, we've seen 3 distinct ways the tech boom is moving past the screen and rewriting the rules of the physical world.
Yeah.
The race for generalized AI dominance is actively pulling the smartest scientific minds away from pure medical research and into commercial tech labs, as we explored with DeepMind.
And we've seen how control over encrypted digital communication platforms isn't just about data privacy anymore. It is triggering massive geopolitical shockwaves and kinetic real-world sabotage, like we saw with the intense manhunt for the CEO of Telegram.
Right. And we've seen how that same AI boom is physically reshaping the American geography and energy landscape, with tech giants building private, gigawatt-scale power grids on former nuclear sites in Kentucky.
It all paints a rather intense picture of the near future, honestly. And it leaves me with a final thought for you to mull over as you go about your day.
What's that?
We are watching tech companies control the global flow of scientific discovery. We are watching them manage the communication infrastructure of active war zones. And we are watching them build physical power grids rivaling nuclear reactors.
So as these corporations amass resources, talent, and physical infrastructure that dwarfs many actual countries, are we entering an era where tech CEOs hold more geopolitical and physical power than traditional world leaders?
We're here to help at Snarful, so reach out on our website if you have any more questions.
That's a wrap on today's top stories. Remember, tech doesn't have to be complicated, and we're here to help connect the dots. If you've got questions or want to learn more, visit us at snarful.com. Thanks for listening, and we'll catch you next time.